Hi, Dr. Lou here to talk about a topic that is very important but is hard to pin down. And that topic is harmony in game design and its opposite, the kludge. This is fundamental to good game design. Games that lack harmony or have inharmonious aspects have a handicap, though some succeed. Fortunately, most of the inharmonious games are never published, or are only self-published. Players don't always recognize the inharmony, but its existence still affects the game. Designers often don't recognize inharmony if they think of the game as my baby. But designers need to recognize it and excise it, get it out of the game. So what is harmony? This is really hard to pin down. It's like harmony in music. That's something you can hear, and you can also recognize when harmony is not present in music. But here is a long quote from a 1997 lecture where this concept comes from. What's harmony? It's something you feel. How do you achieve this feeling that everything works together? Where do you get this harmony stuff? Well, I'm here to tell you that it doesn't come from design committees. It doesn't come from focus groups or market surveys. It doesn't come from cool technology or expensive marketing. He's talking about video games. And it never happens by accident or by luck. Games with harmony emerge from a fundamental note of clear intention. Okay, I think Moriarty descends into touchy-feeliness as he goes on, but you can look it up and see what he has to say. So I'm going to use a simpler definition. Everything in the game feels as though it belongs there and contributes to the purpose and feeling of the game as a whole. That's harmony. It's important because games are not just collections of mechanics or data. Games make intellectual and emotional impressions on players, and inharmony is noticeable, sometimes clearly, sometimes in subtle ways, and the effect is not good on this intellectual and emotional impression. Harmony is not the same thing as elegance. In fact, I hesitate to use the word elegance because it's used by fans of certain kinds of tabletop games as a bludgeon to attack fans of other kinds of tabletop games who react very, very negatively to the word. In general, it's often used in much the same sense as clever. It's usually used in relation to abstract games or practically abstract games, games that are not models of some reality. Now, harmony isn't cleverness. It's something that affects the game as a whole. It's about appropriate fit. Now, what's appropriate fit depends on what standards people are using, and those standards have changed and very much loosened over the years. Think about movies and TV shows. Over the years, what makes sense in those entertainments has consistently become looser. Things that would not have been affected 40 or 50 years ago, would not have been accepted, are accepted now. In fact, people will accept all kinds of foolishness and huge holes in a plot because the program is otherwise entertaining. And we're getting some of the same thing in games. Star Wars, for example. Lots of people love Star Wars. I love Star Wars, but when I first watched Star Wars, I came out of the theater and said, this is dumb and this is a big plot hole and so on. It's just that the overall feeling of the movie overcame that. Indiana Jones 4, oh, that's bad. But worst of all is Starship Troopers, where we go 80,000 light years and then forget that we can use tanks or helicopters. It's just ridiculous. So this same kind of loosening of standards has happened in game design. People treat games more as time killers or something mildly engaging while they socialize, rather than as actual entertainment or something worth focusing on. And so they let things go by that would not have been accepted many years ago. All right, what's the opposite of harmony? The kludge. I borrow this term from software. An ill-assorted collection of parts assembled to fulfill a particular purpose. Kludgy is the other word that's used. In software, it's a tacked-on solution to a particular problem, or a solution that works but just isn't consistent with the rest of the program. It's hard to understand and modify in software development terms. Well, the kludge is the same in game design. It's hard to define in game design because one man's kludge is another man's meh, nothing wrong with that. How do you notice the kludges? If the game is a model of something, a kludge will usually be inconsistent with the rest of the model and may have nothing at all to do with what's being modeled. It may be in there to fix some design flaw. When I play games, I sometimes ask, why am I doing this? If the only answer I can find is because it fixed a design flaw, or because the designer liked it, or I have no clue why it's here, then it's probably a kludge. If you're doing something in a game or seeing something happening in a game and you can't find any reason for it other than fixing a design problem or the designer liked it, it's probably a kludge. And I'll talk more about kludges in part 2.